Today we have an opportunity to have a presentation by one of our outstanding Queens artists, Dr. David Wilson. And I put doctor on it. He doesn't have a PhD, but he is a PhD. You know, we can award our own. And the school of experience sometimes far exceeds the school of academia. His art is very interesting, and I think you're going to get an education. Mr. David Wilson, how do you do?
Fine, thanks.
Good. Tell us something about your art before you begin the show. It is called what?
I call it anthropomorphic perception.
All right.
And the objective is to show that I can see an alternative reality within any image that I perceive. It began when my mother was teaching my brother and me, my late brother and me, to read. And she wanted my brother to identify the map of Italy, which he couldn't. So wanting to answer, she stopped me and she said, let me give Eddie a hint. She says, Italy is kicking Sicily. And it was a light bulb moment. I was looking at the map and I'm looking at this boot ready to kick the little island. And I just began to see things differently from that point. I said, Ma, Dominica, which is my home country, my birth country, Dominica looks like a penguin. And she says, yes. And Guadeloupe looks like a butterfly. She says, yes. I went on, Trinidad looks like a boot too. And then I just started seeing things. So then I fell under the spell of the Mighty Sparrow and his double entendre songs. He would sing one line, but there would be multiple meanings. So I became enamored with this idea of double meanings, multiple meanings. But then the catalyst that really sparked this whole thing was reading in 1980. I was reading something that Leonardo da Vinci said, and he says that the artist who wishes to enhance his faculties for creative invention can look at a stain on the wall and see whatever we see within that stain, anything here he wants. So I said, okay. I took an image of the Mona Lisa and I started looking. And as I looked, I discovered. And I realized he was not just suggesting it, he actually practiced it. Okay. Now, one may say that's my interpretation of it, but I actually see those images in Leonardo da Vinci's paintings. In fact, I've actually done almost all of da Vinci's paintings and found complete alternative realities within the image. Now, what I've come to, I conclude is that for 500 years since Brunelleschi outlined the rules of perspective, artists have accurately painted on a two-dimensional surface, three-dimensional illusions, but we haven't gone beyond that. Now, physicists tell you that there are 11 dimensions. So I sought to find an alternative reality, which is another dimension. So I looked at the Mona Lisa and I wanted to find that other dimension beyond Leonardo da Vinci's three-dimensional illusion. And what I saw, I have done so far 6 versions of the Mona Lisa, which is 6 different dimensions of the Mona Lisa.
Really? Okay.
When you look at this Mona Lisa, all right, here's what I see.
Okay, slow down. All right. Go ahead.
When I look at the shadow beneath her nose, I see a gondola. The average viewer may not see that, but I do see that. In my mind's eye, I see that. I look at her lips and I see another boat. I look at her eyebrows and eyes. I see a broken bridge. All of this is I see in a river with 2 little boats underneath the bridge. Now, one may say, what is it? Where is he seeing this stuff? I'll show you. Here's how I see it. Here we go.
All right.
Let us look closely at the face. Do you acknowledge that you see the image of the Mona Lisa, which is Leonardo da Vinci's three-dimensional illusion of a lady? But within that, I can see an alternative reality. Take a look at her nose, the shadow beneath her nose. I see a gondola. And her lips, I see a boat drifting in the water. One wonders, why is the water yellow? Well, it's a crepuscular scene, so the golden sunlight is coloring the water. You see Mona Lisa, I see a landscape, a riverscape. May I call it a riverscape? Here is the broken bridge, broken in the middle, so the two ends of the bridge have fallen into the water. There are two little boats underneath the bridge, and one can see the reflection of the broken bridge in the water. You can see the sunlight hitting the water, the gondola, the little boat, and if I pull back a little, you'll see cypress trees, which are plentiful in Italy, where Leonardo da Vinci was from. You may see a little mountain here. The riverbank is here. As we go on, in her neck and chest, I see a kitten, the outline of a kitten. This may be difficult for some people to see. Here we go. I'll isolate this area. Follow my hand, my direction, and you'll see the outline of a kitten.
Slowly.
One may see the ears here, and just kitten balled up, sitting, perched right in her neck and chest. Then I see a dog, which turns out to be, also turns out to be a baby's crib. Recently I read an article where by some art historians examining the Mona Lisa came to the conclusion that she was actually pregnant. So I put in a baby's crib, but that baby's crib also looks like a dog's head.
That's the wood of the top of the baby's crib.
The headboard of the baby's crib, yes.
Okay.
Now all of here you see a director's chair.
Not seeing that, but okay.
Here's the arm of the director's chair with the finial that looks like a hand. On the arm of the director's chair, I've placed a hand of bananas. On the seat of the chair is a basket with grapes and a loaf of bread and a pear. That creates her right arm crossed over her left arm. This director's chair and the baby's crib are perched on a balcony overlooking the landscape. In the landscape, I see a head of a figure here, which I claim is Pope Gregory the Great. I'll explain why later. Here you see a little road meandering here, and it looks like a snake. There's a fish here about to eat the snake. Here's the mouth of the fish. Here's the eye of the fish. I'll tell you the significance of these two objects soon. The snake and the fish. The fish is Ichthys. Jesus Christos Theos Iousos Sota, which is the ancient Greek word for fish, and that is the symbol of Christ. So Christ is about to devour the snake, which is sin.
So you bring history,
religion, everything into there. But oh, this painting is also based on the Da Vinci Code, the novel The Da Vinci Code. And I'll show you how I bring everything together. Here you see St. Peter lying in state. Mountains, the nose, he's lying in state, his beard, and his hands clasped as they usually lay out the popes as when they die. They have died. St. Peter was the first pope, so here he is lying in state, creating a cross with a T cross with Mona Lisa, who happens to be Mary Magdalene. According to the book, there was a feud between Mary Magdalene and St. Peter, so they formed the T cross of Christ.
Except the time frame is
okay. Now you may have wondered why I labeled this face as that of Gregory the Great. Gregory the Great was the one who 1500 years ago pronounced Mary Magdalene a prostitute. And for 1500 years, she was known as a prostitute. So here you see the snake crawling across his neck and the fish about to redeem mankind of sin. The fish meaning you see people driving around with the symbol of the fish on their cars and announcing that they are Christians. So the fish is the symbol of Christ. So Christ has come to rid the world of the snake sin. Now, that book also mentioned that Mary Magdalene and Christ had a baby who happens to be, that's why I put the baby's crib here. And if you look closely, you'll see the profile of a little baby who happens to be a black baby. Now, why is she? Yes, Saint Sarah in France, in some part of France, in the southern part of France, they revere a Saint Sarah, who they claim is the daughter of, who some claim is the daughter of Mary Magdalene, and she's black. That little statue that they revere is a black saint. Now, the story goes on to say that after crucifixion, Mary Magdalene and her child escaped in a boat with no oars. Here's the boat. Here is the boat floating in the water with no oars. So here is everything comes together. Now, this may sound a little risky. Why have I put the bread and the wine in her lap?
Feed multitudes.
The bread and the wine. The grapes make wine.
Yeah.
The bread and the wine, what it symbolizes?
Feeding a large population.
My body and my blood.
Okay.
Sitting in her lap.
Wow.
Okay? I hope I'm not ostracized for my
that's a whole essay on one painting and what you have incorporated.
So you see Saint Sarah leaning out of her crib. The kitten is hidden in her bosom, and the dog is growling at the kitten. That's the theme of the whole story of the Da Vinci Code. Chasing after the Holy Grail. The line of Mary Magdalene to destroy it. The dog is always chasing after the cat.
Have you written,
and the secret is buried in her bosom.
Have you written to the author of the Da Vinci Code and sent him?
No, I haven't.
It might be interesting to carry on a discourse with him.
Yeah. So I used the theme of the Da Vinci Code to show the alternative reality that I find in the painting. How
long did it take you to pull all of these concepts together? And did you do it as you were painting, or before you were painting? Or
I've been working on the Mona Lisa since 1980, and I've done so far 6 versions.
Okay.
But when that book came out, the Da Vinci Code,
yes,
I just exploded with excitement because it provided me with the source material that I was looking for.
Okay.
And this is the last version I have done since.
Okay, so this is the most recent version.
This one I call Les Mystères Jocondes au Code da Vinci.
Translate.
The
mystery.
Jocondesque mysteries according to Da Vinci Code.
According to Da Vinci Code. Well, I think...
Jocondesque meaning La Joconde, which is the Mona Lisa.
I think you should send a very small picture of this to the author with a little of the explanation. It might